Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Fantasy Points. As always, this is Marshall. I'm here with my boy Nate.
As always.
Yeah, we got a special edition this week. We're doing a round table at the Commish's house. Got the Commish here, my boy Rob.
Hello.
Yo, and we also got Eric Newhart.
Hello.
Yo. So get a little more insight this week, not just me and Nate. So those of y'all that don't like what we've been doing, or you want a different opinion, I don't know if this will help, but we'll see. So, we're going to get into it. Like I said, Eric and Rob are here. Like me and Nate, like we talked about the first episode, they are both champions of the league. The only two that are missing are Kim and Bunch, who couldn't make it. That would have been crazy if we'd had like all six of us here, right? But yeah, so we definitely got some experience, and we got some people that know what they're doing. So, right on. Let's see, what we're going to talk about first is last season, how it ended. Nate, I guess you should talk about that because I guess it ended all right for you, right?
Yeah, I'll start it off. My team got hot right at the right time. Actually, my regular season record really wasn't that great. I was only like 8-5, but at that point it turned into matchups, and my team was just clicking right at the right time for the playoffs, and I got on the win streak and locked
Rogers
it up.
got hot late.
Yeah, and it made a difference on my team. You know, Jamal Charles had one big game during that stretch, and the championship game, and it definitely sealed up the win.
For sure,
But the final standings, I actually played Corey, who's not been a champion, and we'll probably discuss him here in a minute on kind of upcoming and breakout guys, and Brent was up there as well. Rob and Eric fell a little short. Let's hear what they thought about their seasons last year.
Well, like last year, like you, I was 8-5 also, but in the playoffs, I just had a bad matchup with who ended up playing you in the Super Bowl. Corey beat me in the first round in the playoffs, and you know it always sucks, you know, losing the first round. It hurts your heart, but you know it's fantasy football. You know, it don't matter your regular season record. It's how you finish, how getting hot at the right time. You know.
Yeah, especially like he said, too, to Corey. You know, I mean, props to Corey and Brent, who, like, I didn't even notice till we pulled it up. You know, they finished 2-3 last year. You know, I mean, and that's – I know that I've went to the Super Bowl and won one, but I don't finish second or third. And it's been, and it's nothing against them. You know, they're great at fantasy. But, you know, I was really surprised. And, you know, anytime you lose like that to someone, especially when you know how good your team is, you know, talking about last season, I couldn't even really tell you. I mean, I see that I finished 6th. I really don't remember it. I mean, once I lose, I'm pretty much like out of it. Like I don't care anymore. But yeah, Eric, you're probably the same boat, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year was a complete and utter flop for me, so I'm coming hard this year for sure.
What was the big problem last year?
I think I went for too many sleepers, really. People I thought might break out. A big one I could say would be Justin Blackman. He didn't do much of anything until like the very end of the season, and you know, I held on to him for too long, really. You just really can't hold on to people too long, and
You never know, man. Blackman could have panned out. You know.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
did eventually. I mean, he put up some good points toward the end of the season, but
You gonna get him this year?
he's not on my radar.
We're glad to hear that.
He ain't playing the first 4 games.
It could happen, but he's definitely not on my radar.
Right on. So let's see. After that, it was Kim 4. You know, Kim talked about not playing this year, but you know, she continues to do really good every year.
Always a strong competitor.
And to be in our league, and I mean, I'm not knocking girls, you know, but for her to be the only girl that's in our league every year, and it's not just because she's Brent's wife. Maybe that was in the beginning, but she's proven herself, man.
She's earned her right to be in the league for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to say other than that? Boris, you know, he's back. Boris always got a tough team, man. I mean, you don't ever really want to be playing Boris.
He tends to auto pick a lot, but he always seems to end up to
Live team's tough.
do well with it. Yeah, he always
It
seems
gives
to
you like 6 running backs and receivers, or it gives you anything
I'll
else.
pick my team though. This is part of the ownership of your team. You know, it's part of it. You know,
It's like your baby.
Flops or that's great. You know, it's not your team really to me.
I just don't like my dudes. Like, yeah, when I get an auto pick, I mean, I like a couple of the names, but, like, you know how much we use our apps and how much we pull everything up? I just get mad when I see their names. I'm just like, these are not my guys.
Yeah.
But, and it happened. I told you I was telling Brandon about it at work, about the podcast, and he's like, man, y'all need to slow down. I didn't know, like, half what we was talking about, you know. So we get jokes about giving more stats. We get stuff about not enough, you know. hopefully,
we're landing somewhere in the middle here where if you're totally novice, maybe you might need to do a little more research who we're talking about. And if you're an expert player, you're probably hearing some of this and you're thinking, I already know that. And so hopefully we're landing somewhere in the middle group there to hopefully enlighten you a little bit.
All right, so that's last season. I don't think we really need to dwell anymore. The big thing is 27 days from today, new season.
Yep.
Draft coming up. We just happen to have the number 1 pick here with us. Old Eric, you gonna reveal to viewers who you're taking first?
Well, I've got the number 1 pick for sure, and I've already changed my screen on my phone. It's definitely got AP on there. It's been there for a few weeks, and like you said, there's 27 days, and it's on there. So, also considered making some trades, trading some draft picks. There's a huge gap between the first and the second pick. It's like 23 picks in between. Just a big gap. At the end of that second round, there's a lot of talent gone.
How do you feel about, specifically, Baxter's ever rushed for over 2,000 yards, has ever gotten anything close to that next year, like not even like 1,300 yards? Does that scare you at all?
Certainly. Yeah, I totally, I want AP. He's always a good quality fantasy player. He's always at the top when he's healthy, and he's been healthy for most of his career. But, yeah, I don't expect him to have the same season he had last year, and I don't think that me taking the first pick and taking AP that he's going to pan out and be the number 1 pick next year. I really just don't think that's going to happen. So, but I will take him. Very strong person to take as your first pick. Definitely nothing wrong with it.
I think if there's a back to do it, it'd probably be him for sure, since you...
Yeah, man. If you were not going to be worried about someone, or if I thought someone would not repeat that, I guess you said the same thing about Chris Johnson that year, or whoever else, but...
He was saying 2,500 yards next year, too, and cracked it.
Yeah, and he said it like every year since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just somebody with AP, he did have a crazy last season to that. If he would have just put up 1,500 yards last season, everybody would have thought that would have been amazing after his injury, and he probably would still be the number 1 pick.
I was going to say I'd probably still take him as the first pick.
So,
yeah.
The record almost breaking season out the door. Just a healthy AP, so a valid number 1 pick.
If I had the second pick, I'd be happy with Arian Foster. That's who I would take. Super strong, but definitely I'm going to go with AP. I just think that stats are there. Arian Foster had more touchdowns. AP had way more yards than everybody, which, like we said, it may not occur this year.
Plus, their offense isn't going to change much.
No.
They're sticking with Ponder, and they got Jennings, but that could just help him. Having a better receiver. He's still going to be everything for the Vikings.
Yep.
Actually, Foster scares me more than AP really, because to me, the way his injury history, he's due for an injury. He played most of last year without an injury.
Yeah, they said they were worried about overusing him last year too. Like they might use him less this year just to keep him from getting hurt because he's such a big
That's something they probably should do.
But I want to say, Arian Foster last year really didn't have a backup all year, and the year before that was the year Ben Tate came out, and I think that was Arian Foster's best year. He had some of that kind of spelling throughout the game.
He had a little bit of competition,
Yeah,
pushing.
It pushed him a little bit, and so maybe a breather with a healthy backup now would. I think Tate's pretty much healthy at the moment.
Maybe that no-meat diet did him some good.
Yeah.
So who here's got the next pick?
Brent has
I'm 5.
I believe you'd be at 5.
What are you?
I'm at 9. Rob's in front of me.
8. Yeah, I'm 5. I really want Megatron, but Boris is telling me he's going to get him. I really don't think that's too early in our league with bonuses and everything. There's games Megatron had bonuses 8 different ways. And that's me. I've got no problem taking Jamal Charles if he dips. I got no problem taking Doug Martin. LaShawn McCoy and Rice have both dropped a little. I got no problem with either one of them. So I'm probably going running back. This year I think, a lot of the fantasy shows stress, wait on a quarterback, because a lot of quarterbacks have proven, we pulled up it last night, and even in our league we're 40-yard touchdowns and 40-yard completions. There's names on the list like Dalton, Luck, Freeman, Flacco. Any of those guys, you can get, after at least the 7th round,
later.
And at that point, you've already got 3 running backs, 3 receivers, so that's the route I'm probably going to go. If something fell into my lap, I might do different, but
yeah, the second tier quarterback it's pretty vast. You can get anywhere from Matt Ryan to Eli Manning
Eli,
to,
yeah, I mean,
to Roethlisberger. Even he's a good fantasy quarterback.
people worry about the picks with Eli, but that really doesn't hurt you that bad in our league, man. I mean, with the bonuses and everything, I mean, you're still getting the points. So
And it always seems like Eli's in some kind of shootout somehow. And in the game, he somehow thrown for 330 in the first half. It looked awful with only 90 yards or something, but he seems to always pull it out. And it's the end of the game stats that matter, not the end game.
Or he beat me in a game last year with that game that you're talking about. You know, he had like a 90-yard first half and then came back with like 400 yards for the game or something like that. And whoever I was playing put up 72 and totally beat me that week.
So who's next, Rob? What, you got 7 or
I got 8.
8? Who you looking?
Well, I've done a pretty good amount of mock drafts, you know, and basically it looks like I'm going to be landing hopefully either McCoy or Rice. Rice, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Hopefully, he's not landing one of those two guys. I like Rice a little bit better, even though he's projected a little bit lower, just because he's a dude. You know, they lost all those receivers, and they're going to be leaning on him heavy again this year.
Plus, those were 2 guys last year. You know, I had first pick with Foster, and it was a toss-up between the 3 of them. You know, and I mean, Foster ended up scoring the most touchdowns, but yeah, Rice with the receptions, and them dropping to like 7 and 8, and who knows 3 weeks from now, once most of America's already picked their teams, where they'll be. But,
Like ours, Rice and McCoy.
And McCoy.
Gold, yeah. I mean, you can't even pass up on the guy like that.
I mean, Rice had 61 catches last year. McCoy had 54.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's second and third in the league, you know, and, you know, Chip Kelly going to the Eagles, who
Exactly.
knows what, I mean, they're going to be doing some
They
craziness
just
out
keep
there.
talking about how fast that offense is, and they're going to be, you know, using him as a safety, you know, constantly. They're going to use that college offense.
Yeah,
like
man.
crazy. And, you know, they're
Bring
all
the
about
spread.
bringing it down to the running back, tailback so much there in the flats.
All right,
Yeah,
so
no, I
who's
agree.
next, right?
And so, I mean, my
You're
whole
right there with him.
yeah, I'll be right behind Rob, and so I'm looking at this basically the same 2 names. If you know he's only able to grab one of those 2, that means both will be off the board, and I'll probably go running back still, and I'll go with probably Alfred Morris is another name I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think with RG3 and that option, I think they just have to hand him the ball too much, and he showed last year he can definitely be leaned on.
Well, they might give it to him even more this
Yeah, that's
year.
what I was going to say.
And
Yeah,
so
I mean, they're trying to
I
protect
think
RG3.
his carries will go up, and I think RG3's
Dude,
passing
he's
accuracy
so
is so
big.
killer that you can't load the box up to try and stop him or stop RG3 for that matter. And so I think, you know, maybe 1,600 yards is about maybe a little bit too much, but I think another 1,500, 1,400 yard season's definitely.
I mean, in our league with bonuses, how many, you had Alfred Morris last
Yeah.
year, how many 100-yard games did he have?
He had several. I'd say
I don't have it, but I
So,
mean, yeah.
I would imagine it was great. So.
Right on. Well, that wraps up this first segment we're doing here. We're going to come back and finish up with some more roundtable. But thanks for coming, guys. We'll keep you up. Get you on the next one.